This is Nike's story, part 6 and 7, summarized.
We have a lot to cover this episode, and I hope
Check it
you
out.
all enjoy it. Picking up where we left off, Counters and Unlimited make their way into the research facility. The security system seems to still be operational, and there's a heavy metal door blocking the group from entering. Neon has the bright idea to knock the door down with sheer force. Ah, yes, Neon. Great plan. The door itself is around 40 centimeters thick, or for my fellow Americans, in freedom units, that's 15 inches thick.
That's a
One
thick door.
boy. Although the door seems to be impenetrable, the commander has one more ace up his sleeve. The card Mustang previously provided is the Counter's ticket in, so it's time for the commander to bust a move. The commander breaks it down boogie woogie style, and the card glows, allowing the group to enter. Ludmilla and Alice are absolutely bewildered by the commander's smooth moves and compliments his
We
dancing
got Valkyrie
skills.
memes in
Proceeding
here. I
into
like
the
it.
research facility, the group notices that most of the place is still the same as it was before the Raptors took it over. Ludmilla directs the group towards the terminal, urging them to use it. Anise thinks it's a trap. To defer this thought, Ludmilla shows them that any electronic she touches
Ludmilla?
short circuits, obliterating any suspicions Anise may have on Ludmilla pulling a fast one on them. Honestly, thank God I don't have this issue. How am I gonna swipe away my life savings on NIKKE if my phone dies just by me touching it? Very sad, Ludmilla. Very sad. It's also important to note, at this point in the story, it is entirely unknown why this phenomenon happens with Ludmilla. With suspicions squashed, Ludmilla provides the commander
it's a
with
good
a
game.
password to
I
gain
played it.
access on the terminal, the password being Wonderland. As the commander dives into the
I played it a
terminal's
little bit,
contents, he uncovers another set of files blocked
Okay.
by yet another password, to which Ludmilla provides Super Ultra NIKKE. A little fun fact regarding these passwords: when the game first launched all the way back in November of last year, many players attempted to use these two codes as actual CD codes to attempt to gain gems. It was rough back then at NIKKE's start, bro. We needed all the help we could get. The new password unlocks a map of the surrounding area. The map displayed instances in which
They
pilgrims
really
had been
wanted
spotted,
them
the date
gems
of
or
said
whatever.
spotting, and the route counters could follow in order to cross paths with them. The route in which this pilgrim is taking, the pilgrim codenamed Snow White, seems to display that she is tracking something. They follow a normal route every time they're spotted. It would seem they're seeking something they lost. For the time being, Ludmilla doesn't disclose her reasoning for tracking this pilgrim. Rappy suggests the group stops before pressing onward to their next destination. While Ludmilla shows the group a place to rest, the commander attempts to contact the Ark, which still proves to be a fruitless endeavor. Even though alpha particles are quite low,
Would y'all wanna live in the
communications
Ark?
still seem to be down.
I don't think
There
I'd
are
like to be
stories of
underground.
monsters, or in this case,
Even if it has
raptors,
fake
buried in the
skyboxes.
ice.
Rather be in
Something
Wally.
Ludmilla guesses could be the reasoning behind the communication jamming. The group is about to sleep. Alice cuddling up to the commander, warming him due to her
Damn.
immense body heat. And
Damn.
you know
Damn,
what time
hold
it
on.
is. Let's play
Hold
that
on.
game again,
Hold
viewer.
on. I know I saw a print. Damn. Yo, shout out to the artist that made that print.
You know what time it is. Let's play that game again, viewers. Are you horny?
Oh.
Type rabbity in the comments if you'd love for Alice to snuggle up with you two.
Oh. Let me see. Snow Wife. Yo, that's crazy. Okay. They don't look down bad enough.
Alice generates a lot of heat.
Damn.
Due to her immense body heat, her suit
Damn.
acts as a cooling agent to keep her nice and comfy.
Damn.
Before the commander can drift into slumber, Alice remembers that they need to check on the sleeping princesses. Although Ludmilla says
FBI bait.
Alice objects due to
Drawn
the
like that.
since
No
they've been
way.
checked on.
She gotta be.
With this,
She gotta be
the group suddenly
19.
moves out. And this is where the dark aspects of NIKKE are put on full display. The group comes across a place full of capsules. Capsules containing fragmented NIKKE bodies, neither dead nor truly alive. In a hauntingly innocent way, Alice introduces you to Princess Bluehair and Princess Yelloweye, two of the fragmented NIKKE bodies, stuck in slumber in a cryogenic state. Ludmilla proclaims that they will wake them one day and go to Elysium together. Ludmilla explains that most of the Nikkes that she has come across to rescue have had one thing in common: missing brains. For those of you new to this story, Nikkes are entirely machine, other than their brains. These Nikkes in Ludmilla's care are missing the only remaining thing that made them human. The reason behind the Nikkes' missing brains is also haunting. Ludmilla suspects that the Nikkes have taken their own brains out to keep them in a safe place while faced with their impending demise. In this world, so long as a brain remains undamaged, they can be transferred to a new Nikke body. This is the reason why places like brain farms exist in this world. And,
Would y'all ever do that? Like, if your body was getting old and aging, because we all get old, like, what if you could take your brain out and you could put it in a brand new body that's cybernetic? You do that? I think I'd try it. Maybe.
This is the reason why places like brain farms exist in this world. And, I did warn you, the story can get incredibly dark. The Nikkes, essentially, are waiting for someone to come and return their brains to them, something which, unfortunately, have a very slim chance of happening. Sadly, for some, they recover the brain and the body far too late. Although Unlimited have saved countless Nikkes, some undergo cases of asynchronization, an anomaly which occurs after the brain was separated from the Nikke's body for a prolonged period of time. Ludmilla was hesitant to show the Counters and the Commander this operation, worried about their reaction. The
Bro, no
Counters and the
shit.
Commander choose
Taking
to
someone's
respect what
brain and
Unlimited is doing. It's completely selfless,
do your
something
thing.
which they weren't instructed to do, but execute nonetheless. With the knowledge of Snow White's whereabouts now in the hands of Counters, they part ways with Unlimited. And before leaving, Ludmilla has one piece of advice for the Commander.
Encountering something unfamiliar can feel like two worlds colliding.
For real. That's
they
facts.
seem utterly alien to you.
For
and
real.
With that comes a fear of the unknown.
For some people.
But you must never destroy each other.
For real.
No matter how insurmountable your differences may seem. No matter how much it seems your fear will consume you. You must learn to appreciate the world of others, even if you have to give up a piece of your own.
Ooh, now that's some tough shit, bro. This game would end racism. I don't know if it'll end sexism, though. But
never do is destroy someone's world, for all of them are precious. And all of them are someone's home.
Bidding farewell to Unlimited,
damn, that's pretty
the Counters leave shortly after,
real.
soon arriving at their
real,
designated checkpoint. This is a good spot, according to the map they saw earlier, where they could possibly cross paths with Snow White. Continuing onward, the group sees a body laying in the snow in the distance.
I'd rather go crazy in a young body.
A trap. It would be an appropriate time for Anise to claim it as so. Suddenly, the body explodes, causing an avalanche, and just as before, Rappy attempts to save the Commander, but to no avail. The rushing snow sweeps the Commander away, where he is soon met with a familiar, creepy smiling face. Unable to fight back or resist, the Commander blacks out shortly after. The Commander regains consciousness with a pounding headache, all while being in the grasp of Chatterbox. He is holding the Commander hostage, and intends to force information out of him. Chatterbox inquires about the Commander's Nikkes and if they've been enhanced in any way. Understandably so, the Commander doesn't know, and bam! Chatterbox snaps one of his fingers. This man has been a Commander for, what, a week? Yeah, no, this guy has awful luck with things like this. Chatterbox then asks if the Commander was sick as a child, directly recalling back to the Commander's flashback in the previous chapter. This time, the Commander answers yes, to which Chatterbox smiles, pleased with his reply. Chatterbox then offers the Commander to go with him, but when inquiring where, Chatterbox doesn't answer. Although the Commander's choices in the story are sometimes stupid, sometimes he's just downright fucking idiotic, he actually devises a pretty solid plan in this scenario. Knowing Chatterbox wants him alive, he bluffs that he can blow himself up and demands Chatterbox answer 2 questions or he'll detonate himself. Chatterbox, after heavy pushback, agrees. The Commander finds out that the map in the research facility was planted by Chatterbox, and that he purposefully misled the commander since he knew the group was looking for clues regarding the pilgrims. Again, this is a great moment for the commander. His second question is a point-blank one. He asks if Chatterbox has a mole in the Ark, to which he replies,
of course.
Yes.
Duh.
However, he doesn't say who it is,
Well, duh.
considering the commander had used his 2 questions up already.
Ah!
The commander tries bluffing once more, but this time,
Nah.
Chatterbox calls him out on his lie.
Nah.
It seems that the commander is in a bind that he can't escape, but oh, does the GOAT make a comeback?
Snow White.
Just like before, a shot rings out in the distance, the same shot the commander heard when they
Snow
first
White.
encountered Chatterbox. The same pilgrim as before re-emerges, and this time, she isn't letting Chatterbox escape that easily. The pilgrim begins firing without hesitation at Chatterbox, bombarding the creature with an assault of gunfire. Chatterbox is forced to retreat further back, an area he thinks is safe from the onslaught of blasts from the pilgrim.
Nope.
Being rescued by the pilgrim, she asks if the commander is alright.
It's been a long time since someone called me that.
Snow White agrees to help him fight Chatterbox on one condition, that the commander forget what he's about to see. Furthering this statement, Snow White states that
The world cannot know of us until we have completed our mission.
this mission Snow White refers to isn't one goal her group collectively shares, but missions each one of her allies have that they'd like
the
to
nun.
come to fruition on the surface. With Snow White as backup, she begins her encounter with Chatterbox.
Pilgrims, bunch of obsolete relics.
Be gone, you blasphemous creature! You do not belong here.
Fuck him up.
Encounter!
Fuck him up.
To
Hit him with the
absolutely
ultimate.
no one's surprise, Snow White ends the
Yeah.
battle on top.
Yeah.
being able to neutralize
Damn.
Chatterbox.
That's what I like to
He is
see.
on the ground, writhing in pain.
That's my favorite
His
part of
regenerative
the Nikke.
capabilities, unable to
Just
keep
seeing
up
shit
with
die.
this ancient relic's weaponry. As Snow
Did he
White
die?
approaches, Chatterbox seems to be pleading for his life.
Finish him.
However, it's not for Snow White to spare him, but for someone else entirely.
Spare me.
No.
Are you begging for your life? Spare me your crocodile tears, pitiful creature. What sinful force brought you into this world?
Please, spare me.
Destroy him.
Disgusting.
My queen.
Oh, hell no.
The sky
Oh,
splits
hell
apart
no.
above Snow White and the commander.
Oh,
and
hell.
it
What the
appears
hell
as
is that? A
though something
Gundam?
begins to descend upon them. To both the commander and Snow White's shock,
They got
amidst the
Gundams.
raptures is a NIKKE, donning rapture armor.
Ah.
The commander can feel his body tremble as he looks upon the NIKKE before him, a being oozing with pure malice and hatred towards their very existence.
Ah.
Hatred towards the entire human race.
Oh shit, he's not on
This
our
thing
side.
refers to herself
Damn.
as Modernia
She hot.
and claims she's here to retrieve Chatterbox.
Okay, take him.
It's evident Snow White's blood is boiling at the mere sight of the NIKKE before her. Snow White calls her a heretic, the
Uh-oh.
one who answers
Uh-oh.
directly to the queen.
A traitor who sold out all of mankind.
Damn.
A NIKKE who chose to join the Raptures.
How could she?
Snow White says she's in luck. Meeting this Modernia means she's one step closer to the Rapture Queen. Modernia is completely unfazed by this, simply stating that she'd kill Snow White where she stands if it weren't for her having to save Chatterbox. She chillingly states that she won't forget Snow White's face, and just as Snow White primes her weapon to attack, 2 giant raptures appear before her, and Modernia gives the order for them to attack. Even in the face of impending danger, Snow White's eyes are fixed on only one thing, the heretic before her, a NIKKE who turned to the Raptures, one who is now a traitor of humanity. Screaming out towards the Raptures, Snow White engages, leaving Chapter 6 on a hair-raising cliffhanger.
Damn.
Boys!
Out of my way!
Wasting no time, Snow White continues her pursuit of Modernia and Chatterbox. It's clear that she has a vendetta against the NIKKE she dubbed as a traitor to humanity. The commander insists on coming with her, to aid in whatever way possible, so long as he doesn't slow Snow White down. She agrees to let him tag along. Fun fact, if you played the gluttonous Cinnamon Rolls Bond story, you'll know that she can run as fast as a car. So,
Okay.
good luck, Shikikum. Unfortunately, Snow White and the commander soon face a dilemma as they continue on their search. The commander, being only human, eventually will need to stop and rest. A vicious snowstorm is picking up, making the tracks nearly unrecognizable in the snow. Snow White suggests they stop to rest, which the commander urges against. Once preparations are done and Snow White settles down with
I
the
said
commander,
let's rest.
she
Damn.
begins to clean her
Top
weapons
dog.
arsenal. Snow White's equipment is pretty banged up, and it's quite noticeable that she's been on the surface for a long time. Upon asking how long her equipment had been in this state, Snow White replies that though she doesn't know the exact amount of years, it's been that way since the first Rapture invasion. Yes, this NIKKE in our modern timeline was alive during the first Rapture
Damn.
invasion,
The hell?
when humanity began their conflict with the Raptures.
Damn.
Although Snow White states
all those
it was
years
a few
ago.
decades that have passed, it's been
Decades?
more like a century since that point in time.
Holy
She
shit.
seems despondent, stating that she doesn't want to talk about the first invasion any further, almost as though she harbors memories which weighed down on her from that period in time.
Yeah.
And trust me, dear viewer, this character is far more complex than she appears. Changing the subject, Snow White inquires about who exactly the commander is. Chatterbox doesn't just kidnap anyone, and she finds it highly suspicious how the commander can achieve feats a normal human should be incapable of. The two continue moving, avoiding the harsh conditions of this
protagonist.
frozen environment.
That's it.
Snow White feels that little to no progress has been made, and she asks if the commander is in good enough shape to continue. The commander, evidently, is getting worse with each passing moment. Injured from their previous battles and fighting against the frigid cold, he's quickly shutting down. Snow White urges the commander once more to go back, but in his condition, she realizes that's nigh impossible. Snow White instead tears a piece of her
Snickers.
coat and hands it to the
Yo,
commander.
product
Her
placement.
outfit is a special thermal coat, which helps insulate the commander and keep him warm. Normally, this would be too much for a normal human to bear. However, in these frigid conditions, it helps to warm him up over anything else. Despite being on the surface for
Does
a
it
long
ever
time,
get
Snow
tiring
White
being
is
so
still
handsome?
NIKKE,
Yes.
and protecting
All
humans
the
is
time.
her top priority. For all of you new players, you'll see that echoed clearly from Snow White in both Overzone and the Red Ash story. One thing is puzzling to the commander. A NIKKE of Snow White's caliber would definitely be of great use to the Ark. And keep in mind, the Ark hasn't successfully recaptured a single square foot of the surface. And yet, here Snow White is, fighting against the strongest of Raptures. But not just fighting against them, pushing them back, not losing, but rather overcoming the seemingly insurmountable enemy. The commander asks if Snow White ever thought about coming back to the Ark, to which Snow White dryly replies, no.
Why
still
the
have-
fuck would I want to go there?
Returning to the Ark would echo the mindset that failure
Bro,
is acceptable.
every time someone's like, you gonna come back to America? No. The fuck?
Which is completely against Snow White's morals. Even with the commander reassuring
Even though
her
I do
people
gotta go,
welcome back with
I do
open
want
arms,
to, I do gotta,
Snow White digs her
I
heels
gotta
in
go do
further.
some stuff.
To her, it doesn't matter if they'll be welcomed back. It doesn't matter if people will shower them with praise. There's still a goal that needs to be achieved. And for her and her comrades, they know nothing of the Ark to begin with. It's a foreign land, with foreign people, and a place she'll only set foot in.
Let's just
when
say
the
expel
foreign
the
land
illegals?
With
Expel the illegal out. Okay.
foreign people, and a place she'll only set foot in once her mission is complete. After
illegal
wandering forward
outlaws.
for a bit longer, the two stumble upon Chatterbox and Modernia. It appears that Modernia is repairing Chatterbox, and upon observing the two, the disgust is clear in Snow White's voice as she gazes upon the revolting sight before her.
Is she repairing Chatterbox? They're
Oh,
awful
no.
chummy, aren't they?
Kill her. She's the healer.
Snow White wastes no time, telling the commander she's going to rush in, guns blazing. She
Okay.
instructs the commander to hide, but before the two can separate,
You need some
Modernia
support.
comes between them.
Where's our other
The
NIKKEs?
heretic, almost smugly, taunts the two about how she let them live due to sympathy for them.
Where's our other NIKKEs?
Snow White has had enough, and after tracking for so long, she finally snaps, shouting towards the heretic before her.
Enough of your blasphemy! Traitor!
How could you?
In that case, then allow me to put you out of your misery.
Why she sound like
The
Rosalie?
two engage in a fight, to which Modernia puts up her own magnetic field and disperses Snow White's shots. Snow White's equipment is just too far behind in order to keep up with Modernia. Eventually, Snow White is overpowered, Modernia using her wings
Bro,
to whip
she got
around
jiggle
Snow
physics
White.
even when sitting
Proceeding
down.
an aerial onslaught, hitting Snow White repeatedly, Modernia slams her onto the snowy earth below.
How hard is
Modernia
this boss
taunts
fight?
Snow White that her death will be as painful as possible. And this next scene solidified to me back when I first played this chapter that Snow White is an absolute unit.
Word.
Even in the face of danger, this NIKKE doesn't cower in fear.
Let me see.
My, I got a little carried away there. Let's see how long you can last.
Hey!
Whoa!
What is it?
I can't reach this spot on my back. Can you scratch it for me?
With pleasure.
Even after being beaten and battered, Snow White
She is
still
Saiyan.
taunts her opponent, never admitting defeat.
He's a Saiyan,
Amidst their
bro.
battle, the
He
commander
Vegeta.
scrambles to find a way to aid Snow White. Any small action he can execute to create an opening would be the deciding factor between both himself and Snow White dying. He sees Snow White's rifle laying in the snow, and decides to use it to try and retaliate against the heretic. Keep in mind, this isn't just an ordinary rifle, but one meant for a NIKKE to use.
So it's
Humans
got
cannot
recoil.
use NIKKE weaponry due to the gun's weight and recoil,
Mm.
but under these circumstances, he has no other option. Firing the weapon sends the commander
gonna
back,
break his arm.
shattering his shoulder. But despite his injuries,
Holy
the job
shit.
had been done. The shot grabs Modernia's attention, and Snow White uses this opening to escape her grasp. This is when things start looking up for Snow White and the commander. In this moment, the counters
That's some
regroup
crazy
with the
ass
commander
recoil,
as
bro.
he issues the order to team up with the Pilgrim to defeat the heretic. As the counters jump Modernia alongside Snow White, surprisingly, they gain the upper hand. After the battle, Modernia is puzzled as to how she came so close to defeat. Modernia is stronger by every metric, superior in every way, and yet a newbie commander and a pilgrim nearly defeated her, a heretic. Modernia's visor eventually cracks, revealing the face of the heretic Modernia. The sight of her face causes the commander to freeze. That face,
She's hot!
he recognizes it, though he can't quite put his finger on it. In a bout of frustration, Modernia blurts out how she should have come with Nihilister, meaning there are more than one heretic active in our current story.
Oh, the
commander
thick
isn't
one,
the
the
only
thick
one
dragon
frozen with
mommy.
astonishment. The counters too feel as though they recognize that face. It's Marion. When the commander yells out to Modernia, calling her by her old name, Marion, Modernia appears confused, saying that the commander has her confused with someone else. Her name is Modernia, and she works for the queen. But then, as if in a trance, she starts saying the name Marion over and over again.
Marion, 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 Marion.
Eventually, she snaps back to Modernia, then back in a trance, speaking Marion. The ground beneath the group begins to shake, Modernia's body emitting a black energy. She is still in a trance, and starts her first monologue from when the commander first met her.
Oh no, not a monologue.
Marion from Squad Silvergun. Pleasure working with you.
The shaking grows more aggressive, and the black light intensifies. The commander, reaching his hand out, calls out to Marion once more. This time, she looks as if she remembers. Marion calls out to the commander with tears in her eyes. But before the two can reunite, the black energy explodes and knocks everyone unconscious. With that, the biggest twist of NIKKE's story, so far, is ended
So
as swiftly
far.
as it was revealed.
It gets crazier than this.
The commander slowly comes to in a bunker, surrounded by counters and Snow White. He finds out the blast had knocked everyone out, injuring everyone within its radius. The storm outside is so severe that being rescued would be next to impossible. The commander suggests going out to call for help, but due to the snowstorm, their comms are jammed. Rappy advises against this, saying the commander wouldn't last 5 minutes in that environment. The counters are too banged up to move out, and Snow White's leg is also injured, immobilizing her as well.
I'm gonna go back to base.
Seeing no hope in sight, the commander removes a brace from his leg, handing it to Snow White. The brace he was wearing was meant for NIKKE's to begin with, and seeing as Snow White is the least damaged, with this brace, she should be able to move out and seek help. Snow White, holding true to her morals as a NIKKE, takes the brace and equips it. She asks if the counters trust her to return, to which everyone agrees. Snow White wastes no time and
Bro,
sets
she just
out
helped us in
into
a big way.
snowstorm,
She didn't even have
seeking
to.
any aid to save the commander and counters. 3 hours pass, and the bunker is slowly beginning to fill with snow. Anise, once more, begins dooming about how it's been a long time since Snow White left, and that no help is coming. You know, could you just
Stop being
shut
such
up?
a little
It's been
nihilist.
3 hours, and you guys aren't exactly near the arc, so be a little more hopeful. Honestly, Anise is one of my favorite characters, but
Damn! Yeah! I didn't know they had costumes like this. Why didn't nobody tell me? Holy moly.
chapters just made me remember how much she's just a negative Nancy at
Ah.
the beginning of this story.
Negative. I see
And
nothing
then
negative
Anise
about this
starts to
person
badmouth
whatsoever.
Snow White. God, this was
Oh, she
such an
badmouthed
annoying
Snow
chapter
White.
with
Oh,
her.
she just jealous.
The commander, trying his best,
Snow White better.
is slowly losing consciousness due to the sheer cold of the harsh environment that he's stuck in. Despite the counters huddling around him for warmth, he's on the verge of blacking out, and as he begins drifting in and out of consciousness, he feels a warmth envelop him, one that seems quite familiar. As he slowly opens his eyes, he sees Alice warming him up. And once more, let's play that game again. If you wish this were you, type carrot in the comment section. Contrary to what Anise may have thought, Snow White did uphold her end of the deal. She sought out Ludmilla and Alice and led them to the commander's location. At this point, the snowstorm has subsided. Communications are back up, and the group is able to call for a rescue transport to the Ark. Before leaving, the commander promises Alice that they'll return one day to defeat the evil Queen of Hearts. Returning to the outpost, the commander and his NIKKE settle down. When attempting to rest after 3 days of hell fighting on the surface, the commander hears a sudden bang, which causes him to perk up. Instead of finding an intruder, he's met with Snow White. She had returned to give the brace back to the commander and see how he's holding up.
So
She
sweet.
ponders on how the heretic they encountered seemed to have known the commander and how that could be possible. When the commander confirms this to be true, she hands him a strange red bullet, instructing him to take it back to the lab and saying it'll be of some use to him later. The commander offers for Snow White to join them to fight for humanity, to which Snow White declines. To her, they live in 2 completely separate worlds, and asks the commander if he realizes how long it's been since she's been wandering on the surface. As the commander continues pressing Snow White to stay, her only response is that she'll be in touch. Although this may seem rather minuscule at the time, this creates an incredibly strong alliance between Counters and the Pilgrims.
That's good.
As Snow White leaves, the commander
She
once
has her own
more
mission.
is summoned to Anderson's office. The commander's job is far from over. Anderson has a special job for Counters, seeing as the commander is the only one to survive multiple encounters with Chatterbox, meet a pilgrim, and survive a fight with a heretic. Not only this, but they're the first to see a former NIKKE turn into a heretic as well. Due to all of these things happening in such quick succession, the Counter Squad are appointed as a special commando unit. Basically, in a nutshell,
Commandos!
the Counters have more autonomy when it
Attend
comes to
hut.
future missions. No one under the rank of Deputy Chief may issue any orders of any kind to them. In addition, they may refuse orders within a reason from the higher-ups. And most importantly, the Big Three no longer have power over the group. Yes, this means that Siwon's little antics directly violate the position the Counters are currently in, which can be punishable by Enoch's judgment. With all this good news,
Damn.
and pussy cherry on top, the group has 1 month vacation. Yup, after all the near-death experience they've encountered
Yeah,
in
they
like
do need a
week,
vacation.
they can finally
Damn, what
rest
the
for a
hell?
short amount of time.
Charge that shit.
After the meeting, the commander ponders how Marion has become a heretic, and in an almost bittersweet way, He's happy that she's at least still alive. After a month of vacation time, the counselors have a meeting to see if anything could be turned up on the bullet that Snow White gave them. The researchers only know that it's some type of unknown substance that isn't in any of the Ark's database, and no one from the Outer Rim has heard of it either. Neon, who talked to Exia, was told that anything on the unknown substance has apparently been expunged. With this information, one thing is for certain, that the central government is good at covering their tracks. Even looking into the heretics is dead end as well.
It's the government.
Only rumors and urban legends remain regarding them, and even information regarding how Marion was turned into a heretic leads to absolutely nothing. Anise says that with access to the central government's library, perhaps some information could be unearthed regarding the heretics and the strange bullet Snow White gave them. There's only one problem. The central government's library is under heavy lock and key. Seeing as most of their resources led to a dead end, the counselors decide to initiate a covert operation, withholding all information of said mission from anyone else, which also includes Anderson.
That's dangerous.
Seeing as
but
Exia is the only source of information that doesn't lead to a dead end,
dangerous mission.
the counselors and the commander decide to pay her a visit. Funnily enough, even meeting face to face, Exia accuses the Texi commander regarding all the information that she possesses, all in an attempt to not allow any wandering ears to hear what they are exchanging. Exia informs the group of an old munitions facility beyond the ruins and tells them the building is well equipped. Within this facility lies a scanning device that is needed to scan the bullet that Snow White gave to them. Exia states that she will be providing the group with support remotely. The commander also inquires about any information on the heretics, to which Exia says that the rumors are that they are NIKKEs that have surrendered to the Raptures out of fear. The Raptures took them and reconfigured them, making them an enhanced version of their previous selves, but few people have ever met one face to face. Also, there are 0 cases of a NIKKE being resurrected, making the group's encounter with Marion all the more alluring. Exia offers to poke around the central government's database to pick up any further information for them. Thanking Exia as they leave, the group sets out to uncover the answers to even more mysteries of this world. And that wraps up chapters 6 and 7 of NIKKE's story. The first real climb I find most intriguing. Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below.
Chapter 6 was like an 8 out of 10. Chapter 7. Honestly, that was like a 9, almost a 10. It's a good cap. It's a good send off. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Thank you.
I'm
all
gonna give it a 10.
me.
Yeah, number 6 was an 8. Number 7 was a 10. That's good.
And I will see you all in the next video.
That's good. That's really good.
Jane.
All right, we'll check out more of the NIKKE story. Let's see, how far are we? Just did 6 through 7. Chapter 17. Oh man, we got a long 18. We got a long way to go. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.